Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pie Guy and Brodeur, one voice, two minds. I'm your host, Pie Guy, and before we begin, you may be wondering again, you may be pondering that question, where in the world can I find the rest of these spectacular episodes? And of course, this one-of-a-kind podcast. Well, great question to be pondering, and again, you can find this podcast on YouTube, on the Brodeurland channel, and of course, Spotify. So, now today, what are we going to be exploring today on this episode? Well, today we are going to take a look at our word, which of course is going to be patience. Yes, that one-of-a-kind word. It's hard for many of us, especially in a world where, man, do we get a lot of instant gratification in today's world. But let me not get ahead of myself, because before we jump into this episode, I've got to circle back with the one, the only, Brodeur of Brodeurland, Mr. Brodeur. Hey, Pie Guy. Yes, and that is right. Today we're going to be exploring, and we will really be diving in to this word patience. And you know what, Pie Guy? Patience is a great word, like you said, to really talk in today's world, in today's society, right? We are so used to getting so many things right away, that instant gratification. I mean, heck, you can even get packages day of nowadays. It is crazy. Yes, Mr. Brodeur, I totally agree. And we live in a world where patience is not easy with technology, instant things. Man, I am ready to dive on in and really see what you have in store for us, Mr. Brodeur, and what you're going to be talking about and sharing with us when it comes down to patience. Me too, Pie Guy, so I'm ready to dive on in. Let's get this started. Send me away with this first question of yours. Sure thing, Mr. Brodeur. So, without further ado, let's slice into this word. And so, patience, Mr. Brodeur. What does it mean? And how can I be more patient, of course, in my life and maybe the rest of our listeners' lives? Yeah, Pie Guy. So let's begin with my Brodeurland definition for patience. And it goes like this. Patience is the ability to stay calm in the face of adversity, waiting, frustration, suffering, in order to see the good that's going to come from your efforts. You see, Pie Guy, the key to this whole definition, to me, is the being calm part. That is challenging, especially when things are not going our way, or we're dealing with unpleasant experiences or even situations, Pie Guy. All right, Mr. Brodeur. So let me ask you this. What is a first step, a good jumping off point for working on patience? Well, Pie Guy, here's the deal. It starts with you. Me, Mr. Brodeur? Oh, yes, Pie Guy. See, it's what St. Francis de Sales says on patience. And he says this. You got to have patience with all things. But here's the deal. First of all, with yourself. You see, Pie Guy, being patient is one of the hardest things for a lot of people in life, and including myself. You see, you can't become patient overnight. No, because it takes time. And of course, it takes patience. All right, Mr. Brodeur. So how can I start achieving and growing in patience? You said I got to start with myself. Yes, Pie Guy. So first, you have to start with yourself. The core of patience is you have to be able to master patience with yourself, with those mistakes, with those things you're trying to achieve. That is the deal. You know, with goal setting, we talked about how it's not about the goal. It's about who do you have to become to achieve that goal. It's the same with patience. You got to work on your core self. Yes, patience is the key. Patience is the thing you're trying to achieve, but your growth and who you have to become to be patient, that is the key. It all starts with you. Man, Mr. Brodeur, I'm going to be honest. That's hard. Really, not only just the personal growth, but that idea of, wow, can I really achieve patience in my life too? Yes, Pie Guy. And you know what? Being patient with yourself is sometimes harder than being patient with others. I mean, at least for me, sometimes I find it a little bit easier to be patient with somebody else than it is dealing with my mistakes, in dealing with my setbacks, in dealing with my slowness to grow when I want to grow faster and get better faster. I mean, Pie Guy, let me give you an example in my life. Please do, Mr. Brodeur. So, Pie Guy, when I was on the verge of creating Brodeurland, right, I was a struggling teacher. I was dealing with some of my toughest classes I've ever taught in my career, right? And I remember turning to my co-teacher and saying, we have to turn this around. And so I had to go to the drawing boards again. I had to go, okay, what in the world are we going to do? And it's not like I could change these classes overnight, right? I mean, I could do something, but it's not like magically I'm going to snap my fingers, right? And things are going to be sunshines and rainbows. Yes, Mr. Brodeur. And you know what? I remember you sharing about, I believe it's the class of 2027, and where you had a really hard time, trying to figure out how to teach them, how to meet them where they're at. But you also said in a lot of our conversations how they helped you become a better teacher. Yes, Pie Guy, right on it. And here's the deal. My classes, again, weren't going to change overnight, but I had to do something, right? So, Mr. Brodeur, what was it? What did you do? Well, Pie Guy, I literally started focusing on myself. You did, Mr. Brodeur? Yes. And the thing is, this is where this patience word all comes from. This is where my definition stems from. It stems from, sure, did I look up the definition for patience? Sure. But I also thought, where did I start and where have I grown in that sense of patience? And that infused together created that definition I shared earlier. And you see, now I tried things here and there to get those classes at that time to turn around. But the main thing that helped me grow to turn those classes around and what led to the creation, I guess you could say, of Brodeurland was my personal growth, was my development. Again, it all starts with us. It all starts with you. So, Mr. Brodeur, you focused on yourself and getting better, but how do you do that? How do you start with that personal growth? Like, where do you begin? I don't even know what to ask you, Mr. Brodeur. Yeah, let's talk about it, Pie Guy. Great question. So, for me, I opened up the Bible and I really educated myself on the morals, the teachings, the practices from the Bible that would form me, help me grow to become that best version of myself. And here's the deal. I found a Bible in the Year on YouTube, and I follow this guy named Father Mike Schmitz. And literally January 1st, 2023, I started day one. I said, you know what? I got to work on myself. Let's just see how this goes. I've got to do something. I've got to try something, right? Wow, Mr. Brodeur. So you were on a year-long journey with this Bible in the Year, and you had to take day by day for a whole year. I guess right there, talk about patience. I mean, that's a whole year-long commitment right there. And you know what, Pie Guy? That wasn't even the main part. You see, in the first episode of the Bible in the Year, Father Mike even said, you may not see change right away, but in the coming months, if you stay consistent, you will see it. And I love this word consistent. To me, this is a make or break word. You can try something for a day, a week. You're not going to get much out of it. You've got to be consistent. You got to build that routine. You got to make it really evolve in your life and work in your life. Consistent is king. It is the key to anything, whether it's patience, perseverance, whatever you want to look at. And at first, Pie Guy, I'll be honest, I didn't see much change. But here's the deal. Come 4 months in, during the month of April, that is when that change, that spark, that light, that whatever you want to call it, that Brodeurland revolution would start taking form, right? Wow, Mr. Brodeur. So what did it look like, right? I guess, how did you know, bam, April, everything's hitting on all cylinders or things are coming together? Well, Pie Guy, with a combination of trying things in class, working on becoming the best version of myself, and gaining the wisdom and the knowledge that I needed from the Bible in the Year, reading different books. I mean, I was also reading inspirational, faith-based, spiritual books, a lot of different things to really motivate me, get a better idea of how to work on myself. And at that point, yeah, I kind of felt like things started to align and I could see clearly what to do. And I had the confidence to go out there and try. I mean, there's just a lot of things that just started to hit me, kind of, I guess you could say, slap me in the face, right? Whether it was watching Anita Cobain's speech at my sister's graduation from High Point University. Bam. Talk about a motivational talk that tapped into all the experience I had gone through this 4-month journey, right, of Bible in the Year. And his talk really resonated with that. And then I had some moments in the classroom where I was trying to Mr. Rogers them and try to throw in some of his practices. And just little by little, I just felt like April was when things were coming together. April was when things were starting to work, mesh. Like I said, are the stars aligning, right? That's what I felt like. And whether that was singing in my class, reading them stories I wrote, which eventually would become Luke Belief and Stay True, Shine Through, and of course, creating little motivational talks at the beginning of class, right? And here's the deal. The breakthroughs were starting to come in. This change that was really starting to happen all came from me focusing on myself and really growing in my patience to see things unfolding in their own time through that Bible in the Year, working on myself with those books, everything I was doing. So here's the deal. If you can be patient with those achievements you are trying to reach, those goals you're trying to achieve, in those mistakes you have to face, with those people you are trying to reach or encounter every single day. I mean, for me, it was my students, right? Then by being patient with yourself, it will start to resonate throughout your life. And that is the key of becoming patient. That I would say would be the first step in achieving patience in your life. It starts with you. Spectacular, Mr. Brodeur. So here's the deal. Your patience started with a 4-month journey, like you were saying. And from there, things started to take off, connect. And Brodeurland, I guess, started to be created, even though you didn't maybe realize it at the time. You got it, Pie Guy. And you see, I really like this quote because I feel like this quote really brings us to the next level of patience. And it goes like this. Patience is a form of wisdom. All right. It demonstrates that we understand and accept the fact that, you know what? Sometimes things must unfold in their own time. Here's the deal, Pie Guy. Remember, when it comes down to patience, like I've been saying, it starts with you. First, be patient with yourself. Then we can go out and apply it to the real world, right? That's what I did. So I could really make a change in the lives of the people and the things I work with and face every single day. Now, that can be hard, especially in a world, like we said earlier at the beginning, where we have instant gratification. I mean, I can buy something, pick it up at a store, and even get it delivered the same day. We talked about that earlier, right? And I can text somebody and in seconds or even minutes get a response, right? And how dare you make me wait more than a minute, especially when I saw you read the message or you get those little, dots right there at the bottom that show like you're typing or something. Yes, Mr. Brodeur, I hate seeing those dots. And then they go away and then they come back and you're like, oh, when is that message going to come in? Exactly, Pie Guy. So here's the deal. The key is, how can I apply patience into our lives, right? As much as I want to control things, sometimes things unfold in their own time. As much as I want to make things happen right now in my life, remember this. The expert in anything was once a beginner. Now, Mr. Brodeur, I feel like you say this phrase all the time, that expert in anything was once a beginner. Yes, Pie Guy. And you know what's funny? I got it from a poster in my classroom when I first was teaching. I got it from a retired teacher. He gave it and I was like, oh yeah, I'll take all the posters I can, right? Fill up my room. But that poster still resonates every day I think about it, right? Because here's the deal. Overnight, you can't become a master or understand everything you're going to go through right away. You see, they weren't an expert at the beginning, and they couldn't become an expert overnight. I don't care who you look at, whether it's the most successful CEOs, sports people, whoever. They had to be patient with themselves. They had to go through the process, through the trainings, through the fundamentals, whatever you want to say. Well, Mr. Brodeur, let me ask you this. What is an example of something where you weren't necessarily an expert, but maybe through patience, growth, you achieved success, and I guess you could say maybe became a little bit of a master or something like that? Yeah, Pie Guy. So the one thing that comes to mind right off the bat, just when you ask that question, is my Brodeurland videos. Mr. Brodeur, you are so right. You talk all about how you started so simple with your videos, and through experience and trial, and even error, you grew and you learned to create better edited videos, and I guess you could say a better product. Yes, Pie Guy. But I will say, I still have much to learn about the video editing and acting side, right? But in truth, I had 33 words of the week, right? Which meant, hey, I'm going to have to make at least 33 videos. And that was a tall task to start and conquer, since I would not be able to do them all in 1 week, even a month. I mean, talk about 33 weeks plus, and even more to redo some of my earlier videos that weren't so good, and I had to kind of reboot, remake to fit the format and the style and the quality that I started to get to. And I thought, wow, here we go. Talk about a full year's journey of constant patience, right? And perseverance right there. But man, did it feel good when I made a show, a product that I could use in my classroom on a daily basis. I mean, it feels good. Every day I'm like, I know what video I'm playing. I got this routine. I got this role. That's why when you are scaling the mountain of life, right? You can't take shortcuts at the base, because when you get to the peak of life, you're not going to be ready for those jumps. That's why you got to be patient. You got to be in the moment. Allow things to unfold. Take in those successes. Take in those mistakes. Learn from them. Really grow and really be patient. And that patience will help lead you through your life, right? Remember, you got to be patient with yourself. You got to be patient with the process. That is where your growth is really going to come from. Amazing, Mr. Brodeur. And thank you so much for sharing. I know it's not easy to really patiently attack a goal and create those videos in structure and really bring Brodeurland to life. So, Mr. Brodeur, I'll have to say this, is that time where we got to start wrapping things up. So how can we tie this word, I guess you could say, patience, up and finish it with a good summary, a good little bow on top, wrap it all up nicely for our listeners as we better understand this word of patience? Yes, Pie Guys. So let me finish with this quote right here. And I love it. And this is why I hold on to this quote to the end, because I think this is a great wrapping up point when it comes to patience. A great light bulb moment to help people really understand patience moving forward. Well, Mr. Brodeur, what is it? What is the quote? So this quote is by Joyce Meyer. And she says this: patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting. Pie Guy, patience, I'm afraid, is not all about waiting. What, Mr. Brodeur? Yeah, you definitely have a little mic drop moment right here, because I think we were talking about the word patience, and right now you're saying patience has nothing to do with waiting. No, Pie Guy. It is all about the attitude you have while you wait. You see, I could wait. I could be grumpy. I could get upset the whole time. I could have just looked at my video making journey and my personal development journey, right? And I could have just been frustrated the whole time and just been like, whatever, I'll just go do this, right? I hate this, whatever the case may be. Now, that wouldn't be patience. That's what we would call impatient, right? Patience is all about being in the moment, being patient with our growth, allowing the things like we talked about earlier to unfold. How many times have you been waiting for something? Whether that's like a special vacation you have, or maybe that success or that goal that you've been trying to achieve. Heck, I think about my videos. How much patience did I have to get to where I'm like, oh my gosh, I still got half of the videos left to go. I'm getting close to those last two, right? But here's the deal. When you get to that vacation, when you achieve that goal, that happiness, yes, it sets in, but only for a moment. Only a little bit of a time, right? And once that time, that happiness moves on, we ask ourselves, especially for myself, well, what's next? And that's the key. You got to be patient. Patience is all about really taking in the moments. Can I really allow myself to grow? Can I really learn through life? And have a great attitude, even if life is a little bit bumpy or a little bit of a roller coaster, you could say, right? That way, over time, you can look back at the months, the years later, and you can look back and go, wow, look at where I was. And look at where I am now, right? That's the beauty. You see, don't rush through life. I talked about don't take shortcuts at the base of the mountain, right? Because you're not going to be ready for those high jumps later. Take in the falls. Take in the setbacks. Take in the successes. Ask yourself, how can I keep moving forward? But be patient with that growth. Yes, sometimes things are going to be moving quickly, rapidly, and life is smooth. And you know what? Sometimes you're going to have to try 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, 100 times. I mean, look at Thomas Edison, 1,000 times, but we got the light bulb. Patience is key. And in order to do that, it starts with us. That's the power, Pie Guy, of being patient in our lives. Pie-tacular, Mr. Brodeur. You have me fired up. And I'll be honest, I always hate patience. You know, it's one of those challenging words, right? And you talked earlier about being calm, right? Through it all. That's difficult. And I really want to go out there. I really want to start really right now. Can I be patient with the things I'm going through right now? And maybe even for our listeners, what is that thing that you're trying to achieve? Can you be patient? Can you think back to those successes, those setbacks, and really learn from them? Like you said, Mr. Brodeur, to keep growing. Awesome, awesome. And here's the deal, friends, as we wrap things up. Remember, stay infinite. And don't put limits on yourself. Always expand your horizons. And Mr. Brodeur, if you could finish us in style, sure thing. So here's the deal, guys. Always remember, you make each day a special day by just you being you. There's no one in the whole world like you except you. And I like you just the way you truly are. It's good that you exist, but you got to go out there. You've got to start with yourself. Work with yourself. And be in the moment so you can build patience in your life and go out and become that best version of yourself. So until next time, Brodeur out. Peace.